Most important game of the night, top of the Eastern Conference standings last night. Cade Cunningham and the Pistons taking on the Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell missing his fourth straight game with an injury. Go right to the fourth quarter, 7 minutes left. Cavs are up by 9, but here come the Pistons. That's Asar Thompson throwing it up, and Javonte Green throwing it down. Look, he's eye level with the rim, throwing it down. Pistons, a sign of life. They're within 7. Now it's a 7-point game. 6 minutes left. Again, it's defense turning into offense. It's Duncan Robinson. It's Danis Jenkins taking it strong, and we got ourselves a 5-point game. 5 minutes to play. The lead is 4. Harden taking it to the hole. Cade Cunningham. What a quiet night offensively. Rising up and making the big play on the defensive end. And after the block, the next Pistons possession, Tobias Harris. Tough fall away. Pistons lead is just 2. 4.5 to play. Still a 2-point game. Evan Mobley. He had 18 points, 5 boards. Cavs back up 5. 3 minutes left in the fourth. Good game. Pistons down 3. Cunningham, Jalen Duren, pump fake. Yes, double-double, 24 points, 14 rebounds. It's a 1-point game. Cavs get the ball. Harden, Sam Merrill, clutch 3. 107-103 Cleveland. A minute and a half to play. The lead is 3. Dennis Schroeder. Blow by on Harris. Cavs up 5. 1 minute to play, same score. Harden guarded by Cunningham. Inside he goes. Harden had 18 points. Cavs get the win, 113-109. You didn't see a lot of Cade Cunningham offense in those highlights because you didn't see a lot of Cade Cunningham offense. He had just 10 points. It was his 5th game this year, shooting 25% or worse from the field after having shot under 25% 4 times combined in the last 2 seasons. And so our basketball conversation this morning, the dynamic duo of Chiney Ogwumike and Tim McMahon, both up early in L.A. this morning. Chiney, let's talk about this from the Detroit side of things. Their lead is comfortable in the Eastern Conference to cruise to the 1 seed, but we see some little signs of trouble there. What do we say about Cade Cunningham having an MVP season, but every now and again we see a night like last night?
I can't tell whether this helps or hurts Cade's MVP case because when he struggles shooting the ball, his team loses. We've seen this in back-to-back games against the NBA's best, whether it is the San Antonio Spurs or even in this circumstance versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And overall, Cade, he's had a marvelous season, right? But the issue here is that the supporting cast really struggle with shooting threes. They're 25th in the NBA when it comes to three-point percentage, 28th when it comes to made threes per game. So when Cade is struggling, the floor shrinks, more defense is attracted around him, and so their MVP has to be an MVP consistently for them to maintain their spot in the standings. And
not only the spot, but also the deep playoff run that's forecast for the McMahon. How about Cade Cunningham when he gets into these games against these teams that can protect the rim?
Well, and that's exactly it. 5 of 26 against the Spurs, 4 of 16 last night. Elite rim protection. And look, Cade has to be able to score in crowds because the Pistons, their biggest flaw is they don't have great spacing. This is not a team that has a lot of shooting. This is not a team that has a lot of creation outside of Cade Cunningham. He is carrying a huge offensive burden for them. Still 14 assists. It's not like it was a complete dud. I mean, he gets in the paint, he makes things happen, but there's a lot of pressure on Cade Cunningham to produce in less than ideal circumstances.
Yeah, the questions are not about Cade Cunningham, his greatness, his MVP candidacy. The question's about whether the Pistons, this young team ahead of schedule, can make the run to the NBA Finals. Vegas doesn't think so. DraftKings continues to say the Celtics are the favorites to win the East, despite the Cavaliers' big win over the Pistons. You see Cleveland is there, then Detroit, and then the Knicks. Boston just 4.5 games back of Detroit for the top seed in the conference and coming on fast. And McMahon, what can we say about Jason Tatum? The Tatum of it all, this is starting to feel real. I have to tell you, all year long I've said to myself, there's no way he's going to come back this year. There's no way he's going to try and parachute back in. This is not a criticism. It is quite whatever the opposite of that is. There's no way he's going to try and do this in the middle of the playoff push. And yet it seems almost clear now that he's going to. Tim, what are the expectations for the Tatum return?
Yeah, it certainly seems like a matter of when, not if. He's been playing 5-on-5 for weeks, ramping up. And I think now it's really an issue of how comfortable is Jason Tatum with the level that he feels like he can perform at coming back here. It's not realistic to expect Jason Tatum to jump right back in this late in the season, coming off that injury, and be the all-NBA player that he's been for years. Can he be 80% of himself? He doesn't want to be a role player. You know, let's not put the role player label on him. Can he come in and contribute to a team that has established itself as the legitimate contender without him? Can he give this Boston team that profiles as a legitimate threat, can he give Boston a boost? That's what I think the question is for Jason Tatum at this point.
Here's the question for you, Chiney. Boston Celtics plus Jason Tatum equal what?
Scariest team in the Eastern Conference, because that is the biggest question mark when people are trying to look at their playoff bracket and say, oh my gosh, is this the Boston Celtics team that is currently second in the East? Adding someone that is an all-NBA player, even if he's not 100%, all Jason Tatum has to be is a threat out there as he finds his game. And I'm someone who has dealt with an Achilles injury. It took me a year to feel like myself. And I do think that the expectation realistically is not for him to go out there and to be an MVP. It's just to be true to himself as a basketball player, see his team out there and say, hey, we've actually made, I don't know, it's Lent season for me. We turn water into wine. And now maybe we can actually do something. And so overall, I see Jason Tatum rolling this low, possibly coming off of a minutes restriction, starting with a minutes restriction, coming off the bench and integrating himself. And this to me is one of the most fascinating stories of the NBA so far, because this is a team that can truly do some damage. Out of the rest of the East, they probably have the most championship experience. They have a system that can be really an enigma when it comes to three-point shooting. They have a decent defense. And then you add JT, take his time, but this actually is a scary sight for the rest of the Eastern Conference.
The injury was May 16th, so you do the math. If he comes back mid to late March, he'd have basically a month to ramp up for the playoffs. Okay, one more thing for you guys, and this was good. I was scouring ESPN yesterday for a spicy take, and then I'm watching PTI, and someone definitely put some extra spice on whatever it is Kendrick Perkins was having for dinner. He was on PTI forecasting the end for LeBron in L.A. Listen.
LeBron James right now has one foot in the grave, the other on the banana peel. He just waiting on this season to be over so he can leave the Lakers. Can Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves be your franchise guy to deliver a championship in the near future? And the answer is hell no, because neither one of those guys slide their feet defensively or are willing to play defense, and their defensive liabilities.
God bless Big Perk. In 25 seconds, he just took LeBron out of the Lakers with the go ahead, Sinead. How does one respond to that?
So I sit next to Kendrick Perkins every day on NBA Today, and he says that a number of times, and every time we all roll our eyes, we're like, what is that visual? 1 foot on the grave, 1 foot on the banana peel. But what he's trying to explain is that right now it's a lose-lose scenario for the Los Angeles Lakers, because in that small sample size of their big three, it just is not working on the court. And the way that I'm thinking about it today, maybe it's because we're up at the crack of dawn, but most teams have one sun. And then the planets revolve around that sun. You think about Wemby and the Spurs, you think about SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder, even Cade and the Detroit Pistons. It feels like the Lakers have multiple suns, and they don't know on a nightly basis who should take the lead. The obvious answer is Luka Doncic, having statistically one of his best offensive years. But when you have LeBron James, it automatically feels like you should defer to him in these moments. But he's 41 years old. And then you saw how Austin Reeves started off the year, and then the rhythm is a little bit different when he came back from injury. And so all of this confusion, what Perk is probably trying to allude to, is that they're going to have to decide when this goes around Luka, how do you build a roster that actually plays to his strengths? And then if LeBron James leaves, going to Cleveland, look at what Cleveland's doing right now without him. It's going to be fascinating to see how these next few months go in Lakerland.
If indeed LeBron does leave. Well, I'll give you that. I'll give you these as three options, Tim. Week one, day one, opening night of the 26-27 season, LeBron James is A, a Laker, B, on another team, or C, retired. Which do you choose?
I mean, it's B, and if you ask people around the league, as Shanae said, Cleveland is the most likely destination. Think of the storyline, the reunion, coming home again, the hometown kid, one last run, the retirement tour for the ages, being able to play for a contender. And look, in Los Angeles right now with the Lakers, LeBron James is a guest in his own home. He's not on the deed anymore. This is Luka Doncic's house, but they've got to remodel it. They've got to rebuild it. They can't do that with LeBron on the roster. It's about Luka, Austin Reeves as a number two. Then they've got to come and get pieces around them. They've got to get a rim protector. DeAndre Ayton ain't the answer. They've got to get defense and shooting around them. LeBron James does not fit with the Lakers' future And I don't think LeBron's going to go out with a whimper here. In LA, I do expect him to join a contender, and why not go back to his hometown team this summer?
So that would be obviously a fitting, on some level, storybook ending for him. Quickly, Chiney, on what the Lakers could look like beyond that. Tim just sort of touched on it here. How quickly do you think they could put the right pieces together?
Well, I feel like they have to do their homework 100%. And Tim, you saw the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic leading them in the charge, trying to get to an NBA Finals. And obviously they had posts that were great rim protectors and people that put pressure on the rim. But the big issue was, having a smaller guard, particularly Kyrie Irving, as your number 2 offensively. And that was a large load also on Kyrie in the postseason. And so my question is, Austin Reeves, that could be a little bit of revisiting history with Luka alongside a small guard. I think they have to get a dominant wing that can help them on both ends of the floor on top of improving the post. That, to me, is looking at the history and saying, what can actually be the next step in helping Luka?
And maybe LeBron would find himself closer to a title by leaving than by staying in L.A. Guys, stay with me. We got much more basketball as we continue. But up next, is Jerry ready to show him the money? Who should the Cowboys target first to chase the Super Bowl? It's a mammoth week in the NFL, and it rolls along next. You're watching Get Up on ESPN.